let's go ahead and we'll recap We Won't Fly and where we're at now, and we'll start from the beginning and do it because we got your CNN thing on here from Philly that people can go to, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll build up, and then we'll just get on into Lord knows what.
Okay. Yeah, something that's for some reason is making the news right now. It's kind of generated a flurry of interviews for me. Is the TSA's decided they're going to give the blue shirts radiation meters, which I thought was interesting. Somebody else I know had that idea.
Yeah. Okay. TSA. All right, we come in about 45 seconds.
Mary's of the Immaculate Conception Church. According to St. Mary's treasurer, Beth Ellen Coyle, church-sponsored events are a notorious breeding ground for these treasonous acts against the Lord God.
This is supposed to be about the glorification of God, not violating His word. Do that, and you're no better than that cheap strumpet Melissa Wyckoff with those simple chocolate cookies of hers.
The 7 deadly sins were first outlined in the 5th century by Gregory the Great, who himself was, as indicated by his very name, toying dangerously with the sin of pride. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network. And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Make them remember, we are not afraid!
No fear! No fear, no fear! Here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona. I am from the BEA beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. Oh, yeah, go check out freedomsphoenixezine.com. And in there, you'll see a regular contributor is James Babb. And now, we know him for a lot of things. You know, the Philly Inquirer, which was a newsletter that they used to educate the peoples on the streets in Occupy Philly. And in the Fed stock activities that he's known for, but probably internationally best known for, WeWon'tFly.com. Now, I could just, James is one of my favorite activists because, he keeps the fun. He's one of the guys that, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Well, he does it right. And I really enjoy working with James, and anytime we get to spend time together on the phone, in person, traveling. Oh, yeah. When you come into Phoenix, man.
I'd love to. Love to. Certainly have it on my list. I'd love to.
Waiting on you now, okay? We'll have some fun. Now, let's go ahead and I want to make sure there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk to you about, but let's go ahead and start off with the TSA because there's breaking news on this and so on, different things have happened. So let's go back to the beginning, okay? Go ahead and tell me what WeWon'tFly.com is. Now, you, George, did whatever, and go.
Well, it was around last fall. The scanners were coming to the Philadelphia International Airport, and I wasn't really pleased about that because I like to travel with my family, and I have young girls, and I didn't really want them subjected to nude photography by government employees. I just really wasn't pleased with that idea, so I thought, well, what can we do? I talked to some of the other libertarians, like, okay, let's do some activism, let's get some awareness out there. I thought maybe we could slow them down a little bit here in Philly. So George Donnelly immediately volunteered to make a website, and he made the We Won't Fly website, and we started posting stories, basically first-hand accounts from travelers about what they had gone through. And these kind of took off on the internet, I think, especially through things like Reddit. Some of the videos went viral. Next thing, our website is plastered everywhere, and the server was melting down after just a couple days of existence. So it went from there to mainstream media, and everybody picked up on it, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So we had a lot of opportunity to talk to people all over the world, and tons of different media outlets, and it's still pretty interesting. It's definitely not what it was, but it's a great opportunity for libertarians to sort of talk about government.
I tell you what happened. I got a call from, it was Montreal or something. It was Canadian television. They wanted to come to Sky Harbor, and I think the reporter was trying to market to her owners, trying to get her an airline ticket to come to Arizona is what was going on. But the thing is, I'm going, well, you can go to New York, go to Philly. I mean, I don't know what you got. Damn it, we want to go to Phoenix, man. Well, the thing was is that this had an international impact, and they wanted to get the videos and so we knew what was coming. And it was like a week before. You did this the day before Thanksgiving, and it was about a week before Thanksgiving, and so just over a year ago, and we had the Phoenix Police and Sky Harbor and Homeland Security, everybody invited, and they came down, except the 15 minutes before the meeting started, the Homeland Security, she was a new person, she called and she said, I'm not going to be able to make it, and I'd like to have stricken from the record that I ever agreed to come. So we're going, okay. So we had probably 6 departments of Phoenix, the police department, divisions and so on, represented by 8, 9 guys. And they came in, and their mission to us was to say we had representatives from Arizona State University students, we had, Campaign for Liberty, we had different various activists and videographers and so on were there. And it was just, look, this is what's going to happen next Wednesday. This is a Wednesday before, about a week before. And we're going to go ahead and we documented and we videotaped and all that kind of stuff. But when the discussion started, we stopped the recording. And we said, we want you guys to speak freely. And it went on for over a couple hours. About halfway through, they took a 20-minute, 30-minute break because they were just frustrated as heck because the entire meeting, they were there with guns and chest out saying, you will respect our authority, and you will get permits, and you will this, and you will that. And I go, I don't think you guys understand what we're doing. We're here to make sure that nobody dies or gets in, the gang arrest Guantanamo bus, and these young kids, understand exactly what they're dealing with. Because I understand you guys. I know what's going on, and we need to make sure that nobody needs to get hurt, nothing bad needs to happen, but we're not getting a permit. Okay? This is not going to be, we're just going to be there peaceful, have a nice day. And there's a lot of details about that conversation. But they were very unhappy. But that Friday, 2 days later, Dr. Paul came here on a visit, and he had gone through his groping, and he didn't like it. He was very unhappy at TSA, go get him, or go get him. And we did a live interview from the Phoenician out here, and he's like, yep, Boston is going to go kick some butt. So we had an activist thing. We made these kits and so on. They're called opt-out bags, and I'll show a picture of it here in a little bit. We're scrolling up some pictures of your stuff. And what happened, we went out there, we passed these out, and so on, got a lot of press. Every media outlet wanted to have a big woo-hoo about this thing. The police here, they didn't understand how big this was going to be, how much media it had. They thought they'd just, chest out, respect authority, and now they realize that they need to be perceived as the good guys, defending rights as the individual to protest the federal evil blue hand government wanting to put my hand in your pants, people. And that worked out better for them. So they're just like, okay, I'm going, man, I helped you guys dodge this bullet, because if you went and been a butthead, it would not have been good for you. And all of this came from you guys starting it. And I understood how big this was going to be, because I can just tell when it's a James Babb thing, George Donnelly thing, it's going to be a thing, know what I mean? So I wanted to, get from you now an update of what was some of the peak, things that really had an impact nationally. You did a CNN interview. I mean, I'm sure you did a lot of other interviews. And where are we at now? What is some of the stuff that's happened now?
Well, I guess some of the highlights back then was the media attention. I mean, it was nonstop there for National Opt-Out Day. As you know, it got really huge. My wife was getting a bit concerned. Every day I'd be like, hey, honey, Nightline wants to come over to the house. Is that okay? So, which is kind of unusual. As libertarians, we're always trying to do stuff. We're always trying to get attention. And this, it started out the same as any other libertarian operation. It just happened to catch fire, which was kind of neat. we did some damage. I think our goal was to raise awareness. We certainly did that, and we look around now. I think it's pretty much well known. Anybody you talk to now is aware of what's going on with the radiation scans and with the groping. So that mission was definitely accomplished. Unfortunately, TSA has really ramped up their game as well with these Viper teams. I know you know about. They're slithering down our highways and into our trains now, where who knows where you're going to find a checkpoint next. So that's a very big concern.
Well, some of the reason, one thing, let me show this to the audience that's on Justin TV. Let me go ahead and do this. Because what I want to show is the concept that we had here is, the opt-out bag, and in there we had, as an activist tool and understanding for the employees, we had our Godzilla Attack Dosimeter Radiation Badge. And now, all of a sudden, it's becoming well known that there are risks with these scanners, and what are they doing for the employees there now? Well, James has some update for us when we come back here on Declare Your Independence.
Arizona has been one of the hottest real estate markets in the past, up until the last couple of years. Homes that were once going for $500,000 to $1 million in prestigious areas are now going for less than half of what the original purchase price was. That makes it a very good time to buy. So if you were ever thinking of retiring to Arizona's inviting climate and laid-back and friendly lifestyle, now is the time. That's where I can help. This is Donna Hancock with Brangus Realty, and I have provided a way for you to search for properties that are of interest to you, all at your own convenience and without having to give out any personal information. Visit my webpage at donnahancock.com to start your search today. And when you're ready to make a move to Arizona's warm and sunny climate, please feel free to call or text me at 602-828-1819. Many are working hard to make sure Arizona is not only a beautiful place to live, but a free and peaceful one as well. So what are you waiting for? Make your move today by calling 602-828-1819. And don't forget to visit my webpage at donnahancock.com.
You know the Constitution like the back of your hand. You've read books, listened.
Hey, James?
Yes.
Okay, I got the picture of the dosimeter badge. When we come back, I'm just going to, read it and kind of, RAPA scan, body scanners, emit radiation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about this and how it was an activist tool that we gave to the pilots and stewardess and passengers and the TSA employees and all that kind of stuff. And then that will segue into you being able to talk about some of the changes, what they're doing now. Do you have any information in front of you to report on, all these stories about how, it's a cancer causer and all that stuff?
Yeah. Let me... I'll pull up some other notes. I also have the article here about the new dosimeters being distributed to the agents themselves.
Yeah. No, that's why I want to do this is kind of segue into that,
right.
And then of course them talking about them emitting the radiation and then they started testing them and found out there was a lot more than what they said and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but in the beginning, we're doing this on the back of that card. It was to the TSA employees. It says TSA employees must protect their own health, and then we went into the whatever and we won't fly.com. So that's why I'm going to come back with that, and then you'd be ready to do whatever.
They took your suggestion, basically.
Yeah, what we did is on there it says badges can be obtained for $12 to $20 from suppliers like mpdosimetry.com. I talked to the company that made them. They encouraged us to put their website up there. I'm wondering to see if they got a big giant contract. They owe me a big solid. You know what I mean? All right, we'll be right back.
And help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm. Free Talk Live.
When you call a government bureaucracy, more often than not, the person who you talk to will not know the answer to your question, but they'll tell you they think they know who the person is that has the answer, and they will pass.
You need to send me an email, publisher@freedomsphoenix.com. Publisher@freedomsphoenix.com. You can tell me whatever you want, And I got to get back on the air. All right, bye.
Her underlings who actually gave you her phone number and let you get through to her.
Yeah, that's probably the case. She just wants to play solitaire, and you interrupted her game, or she just wants to surf on the internet, and you just ruined her day.
Yeah, a guy wants to give me newsletter, the tribulation of whatever.
Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM. To be a part of the show, call 602-264-2800. 602-264-2800. And now, Ernest Hancock.
Of me, Ernest Hancock, here in the BEA beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com, talking to WeWon'tFly.com guru and all-around great guy in activism for the libertarian cause of freedom, leave me aloneism, individualism, aggregatism, bouncer, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to be messed with by guys in blue glovesism, okay? That's what it comes down to. James Babb, got a family, got children, says, you know what? Keep your filthy, stinking blue gloves off of me, or at least change them when you're going to do it. Because what happens is that when we did the opt-out bags, let me go ahead and go to the screen here and you'll see what I mean. What we did is we created this opt-out bag, and it had some information. It had a card, the Levolution and Freedom's Phoenix, and we had a card from Mark Victor that on the back, it's kind of Fourth Amendment. You don't have my permission to search and what else. We had For Liberty, a DVD. Dr. Paul, we just, we're going to throw a DVD in there, and they get learnified. Then we had the bag. It was just a sandwich bag that we put them in, and then we had a dosimeter badge that was for the TSA employees and the pilots and the stewardesses and frequent travelers and so on. That was the activism. That's what they didn't anticipate. But we also had blue gloves. And it's like, because what were they saying? They're going, pandemic, remember? It's all, we got vaccine, everything, flu shots, and we're going to have, and everybody's going to die. We're all going to die. And the reason was, they're saying people traveling in there. And I'm going, when they go around and they smear your body with their blue gloves, and they go to the next guy, they don't change their gloves. So we're going, look, here's your opt-out bag. So when you opt out of getting irradiated, or you go over here, here's some fresh blue gloves for your date with your TSA guy, okay? Hey, put on these, I don't need the slime, spread all over me from that guy over there, all right? So we're just making fun of it. Now, what we did with the dosimeter badge is that, we had it's called the Godzilla Attack Dosimeter Badge, and it kind of, mimicked a dosimeter badge on the front. Now, on the back, this is what it said. TSA employees must protect their own health. Rapiscan, that was the name of the actual company, body scanners emit radiation. It is unclear if either Rapiscan or the United States federal government has any liability for damages caused by any individual from radiation exposure and are likely exempt from liability. You can count on that. Internet searches for radiation dosimeter badges will provide you with information on how you can help protect yourself. Badges can be obtained for $12 to $20 from suppliers like mpdosimetry.com. TSA screener, your safety is your job. WeWon'tFly.com. Now, what happened is that we had talked to this company. I had looked, is there dosimetry badges? Can you get this? Can you protect yourself? Because the TSA had made it clear to the employees they weren't allowed. You can't have a dosimetry badge on. They're not going to give them to you, and you're not allowed to have them. And we're like, wow, man. We go, look, man, put it under your clothes, in your underwear or something, because it's your responsibility to protect yourself. I talked to the sales. You ever want to get anything done, you talk to the sales department. You don't talk to the PR guys or public relations. You always talk to the sales department because they get their mind right. I talked to the sales department MP dosimetry at the time, and I remember the conversation. I told them exactly what we were doing. Could they supply to people that wanted to, if they went through these, got a dose from these radiation-emitting, scammy things, the Total Recall look in my, innards, can we get something from them? And it'd be, yeah, absolutely. Now, we understand there is a danger. We know. We've been checking. Damn, Skippy. And so we're going to put your website on there for maybe they want to protect themselves. Maybe they'll call. They go, yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. So that's what we did. Now, years have gone. Well, a year, has gone by, and Jim's got some news for us. Tell us what's going on, man.
Well, evidently they like your idea, and it got leaked out back in November, I think, that they had put out bids for dosimeters for their employees, and the story just really kind of broke recently. I did an interview with the LA Times. They called me to ask about this. They're like, hey, the TSA is getting dosimeters at 100 airports. What do you think about that? I was like, wow, that's interesting. Seems like Ernie had that idea about a year ago. Thanks for glad they finally caught up with you guys.
Well, they had to come out with the information that they started doing tests, and certainly people were, that these were emitting high doses of cancer-causing radiation when they said they weren't, and they were.
Right, well, there's been this continuous history of they come out and say, oh, it's perfectly safe, perfectly safe. And then a bunch of experts come out, like from Johns Hopkins or wherever, and they say, no, actually, we didn't say that it's safe. And the TSA's been busted over and over again for false statements. I mean, first they lied about the storage capacity of these machines. They said, oh, no, we're not storing or transmitting your nude pictures. Don't worry about that. Then it turns out, due to a Freedom of Information request, that they're actually required to have that ability as a condition of the contract to sell the machines to TSA. So, they get caught in these kind of lies. So yeah, they said, the FDA approved this, and then unfortunately nobody told the FDA that. So their spokesperson had come out and said, well, actually we don't have any role in testing the machines because it's not food or medicine. Even if they wanted to, they don't have that authority. So then they're like, well, U.S. Army Public Health Command and Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, they all said they said it's safe. And then these guys come and said, no, we didn't. We actually, we might have looked at the stats that we were given, but we haven't done any independent testing. So, claim after claim after claim is refuted by the people that they say are signing off on this stuff. And meanwhile, prominent scientists and medical people have said, look, we just want an independent test, okay? Let's cut through all the BS. We need independent testing of actual hardware in use, not a prototype, not going to just test the specs. Even the specs themselves, the TSA admitted, said, oops, we left off a 0. Sorry. Honest mistake. It was actually 10 times the radiation we said it was. Just honest mistake. So they really have this reputation for trustworthiness, and I think that's really important. So whenever they make a claim, you got to consider their track record. But they're still, even just to this day, the articles are now still saying, they're still claiming it's safe, and they're testing it regularly, and just line up through the cattle stall, and it's going to be fine, really. But
the real reason, safe to what? Safe to my body, which of course we know it's not, any more than it's safe for my liberties. What's the purpose of government? Protect my individual rights. What are they doing? Oh, you want to travel? You got to get, either all the king's men get to stick their hands down your pants, or they get to see you naked. Yep. That's where we're at. We'll be right back in just a little bit.
When I found the Free State Project, I knew it was the key to achieving liberty in my lifetime. It's awesome to be surrounded by like-minded, freedom-loving activists.
Okay. When we come back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand on your trusting them thing and just kind of use the Rahm Emanuel when they said, oh, we just suspend the Bill of Rights and Constitution for the duration of some meeting, G, whatever they're going to have, and then they say, hey, this wasn't temporary, it's oh yeah, I lied, I'm sorry, it sucks to be you, and then that'll get into some general freedom-oriented stuff, and then I definitely want to get into ending the Fed and the dime cards. Oh, this dime card thing is kicking. I mean, it is really starting to go. So we just bought a vending machine.
Cool.
$2,500 for this thing. Some of the other guys got it, and we're doing a big video. Is picking it up this Saturday.
Well, that was the secret operation.
Right. Well, he didn't get that one. We got another one here, but it's this big monolith, and where we got the idea. You're in the Fed 2001 Space Odyssey thing. The whole video is that black machine being that while we're going up and playing the monkey. And so the future, this whole viral video is going to be about, the dawn of man. We're growing out, we're evolving past this, and in the Fed using the big black monolith of the vending machine thing. That's where, and I got the idea from your logo.
Oh, cool.
See, we just keep reinforcing. So we can't really talk about that, but we'll, because they want to be all secret. But we're going to have the videos start and everything, and it's just really taken off. But what we're going to go ahead, the guys on Justin TV. We're broadcasting on Justin TV right now, so I guess they know. Anyway, so it gets it during the break too. But so this is going to be a big deal here. See, that's the benefit of Justin TV, you guys. You guys are watching this. You get the little skinny and behind the scenes. What we're going to do is put a bunch of different logos and artwork and groups and whatever on there, and we're going to need your help in getting all your logos and everything to participate in getting listed on this thing.
No problem.
So I need, just send me all your, whatever you want to put on, Philly Inquirer, the We Won't Fly, in the Fed stock. I mean, just everything that you can send me in high-res, whatever, PDF, something, and then I get them to the guys, and we're going to be printing up the initial, just like a banner that'll go on it, and then we're going to wrap it later after we get it all prettified.
Love it.
So when we come back, we'll go down that line.
All right, cool.
All right, go.
States.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box. Facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page. And Twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
You know how annoying it is when someone keeps stopping mid-sentence as though he or she were asking you a series of questions? Avoid doing that. It sounds unnervingly tentative, and it imposes upon the listener to help you complete the thought. And if you're a job seeker, this alone could be a deal killer. An effective communicator sounds more confident. Complete the thought. Avoid making the listener impatient. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook. survivalspeech.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Yeah, one man, one goal. Well, that's James Babb. He's got a goal of something. I don't know what it is, but it's, he's reaching it. He's getting attention for it. He's getting videotaped on TV for it. What is that goal? I mean, James, you're doing all this stuff. You're a hardcore in-their-face activist with support of your family and so on, and you have fun. You a lot of parties, and there's a smile on your face all the time. How do you do that? Tell me, what's your secret, man?
Well, there's no secret. I think you're certainly having as much fun as anybody, Ernie. So I'd look to guys like you to set the tone. If it's not fun, we're definitely doing it wrong. So I certainly believe in that. But My goal, sure, I want to be left alone. I want everyone I love to be left alone. But, right now what we're doing is we're teaching people about the philosophy of liberty. And I found the TSA is actually it's a good one for doing that, because when you think about it, it's really no different than any other government department. It's, they're sticking their hand in your pants, they're assaulting you, they're taking your stuff, they're telling you it's for your own good. This is the one that's out in the open. This is the one everybody can see. So people are looking at that, and they're like, well, wait a minute. The government is doing something harmful to me and my family? For a lot of people, that's the first time they come up with that concept. So, what I'm trying to do is help people, realize, like, yes, that's what they're doing, and that's what they always do. So that's I think that's why it is a good opportunity for libertarians to use as a teaching tool.
One of the other things is that it always comes down to, one department or one, it's always the worst. It's always the Gestapo. It's always the SS. It's always something, we got PSA. And they'll get more and more uniformed, more and more armed, more and more belligerent, more and more. And this Viper team on the street thing, we had a deal here in Scottsdale we made a big woohoo out of, and that, PO'd them, and we'll see where that goes. But, I give you an example, but it always gets more consolidated down until you get to be chancellor. Well, who's a perfect example of that? In Chicago, they turned it into London, man. I mean, they got, closed circuit television every freaking where, and under the bridges kind of thing. So these thousands and thousands of television cameras there, they're surveilling the city. Well, who wants to be in charge of Chicago? Rahm Emanuel. He said, "Ooh, let me have it." Well, now they got, I don't know, whatever G20 or G something, some World Bank, what a big meeting. So they go in, and I remember the story that just a couple weeks ago, where he had gone before to the city council and said, look, it's kind of like this having Olympics here, that we need to be able to curtail the Constitution and Bill of Rights and free speech and all that stuff just a little bit temporarily, okay? And then it'd be, just vote for this, it's all good. After they vote for it, do a little backdoor thing, and then here it comes. When the final examination of what they passed in there, they kept pressuring him to answer the question. There's no expiration to this. After this meeting or whatever, what you did is you have no expiration for the curtailing of people's rights, free speech, going out and protesting, curfews, all this other stuff. There's no expiration to this. And this is after enormous pressure in the media and from the people in protest. Rahm Emanuel finally said, "Oh, sorry, I was wrong. I lied." That's his answer. And then what are you going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? So here we have, someone like James Babb that going up against the man when they had the Occupy movement was going on, because we were doing our stuff here in Phoenix too, and we, matter of fact, we sent you a bunch of DVDs, stuff that we were doing, and what happened was in Philadelphia, you guys embraced the Occupy movement as an outreach opportunity, just like a lot of people had done for the Tea Party, and there's a lot of criticism. They're going, why are you supporting and working with them evil communists over there? And I just saw them as just, another marketing ability. So I know you kind of saw it the same way. Walk us through how you participated in that and all the things that you did. I think this is fascinating. Go ahead and share it with the audience.
Well, yeah, it started in Philly a couple months after it started up on Wall Street. But, basically, they had an organizational meeting. I found out about it. I said, I'm just curious. I'm just going to go down there for this first meeting they were having to discuss it at this church. I just want to see what the deal is. And I went with my friend Rob Pepe, and we brought a few End the Fed flyers. I thought, this will be, I was just really just reconnaissance. I get there, and there's like 1,400 people jammed into this church. And before we even go into this
at a planning meeting.
yeah, this is just to discuss, well, when are we going to do this, where, et cetera. I'm like, wow, something's going on here. We passed out a couple hundred little End the Fed flyers. Before we could even get in the door, we didn't have nearly enough materials, and people were very receptive. They're like, oh yeah, the Fed. Yeah, and some people were even like, oh yeah, Ron Paul, and I was like, wow, this isn't quite what I thought it was. being portrayed on the news. So like, okay, well, let's get involved with that. There's certainly going to be open minds. Yeah, there is. I mean, sure, it was very left. There are plenty of the communist types, or government's the problem, government's the answer, government is everything, government is their god kind of people, and that's fine. But we found tons of people that were just aware that something was wrong, and they were just showing up there for answers. So I didn't want the Socialist Party to be the only one giving them answers. So we started a newsletter, started distributing that. Very well received. A few criticisms came in initially. They're like, well, wait a minute, you're talking about free market solutions and ending the Fed. What are you guys doing? and I just said, hey, look, if you're everybody's welcome. Send me something. I'll include it. Or, I just said, look, these are my guidelines. Don't advocate aggression. Don't advocate violence. And, we can, keep it factual and concise, and I'll probably run it.
Well, they advocate for some government doing something. That's violence. How are you going to enforce this? We're going to take from the rich thing, without a gun. So I understand, your mindset on this. And what kind of participation did you get from people that weren't necessarily libertarian?
Well, first of all, everybody loved it down there. They distributed it. They passed it around. Literally, it was being handed out on the Socialist Party table. It was handed out in their info tent. And this is a really neat operation. I mean, we talk about the need for, or the possibility of spontaneous order without government direction. These guys immediately had a food operation, sanitation, a library, security, medical community. I mean, these guys were, all of this stuff quickly emerged out of nothing. It was beautiful.
No, here in Phoenix, it was the same thing. They cleaned up after themselves. They had food, they had water. They really went overboard. Now, of course, I'm sure they got subsidized money from somewhere, but the people took care of it, and we helped. We're just like, no, we want you to be able to express yourself, but we get to, right? Yep, absolutely. So it all worked out. But you guys went further. But before we even get to your other little, camping adventure, I want to talk about the actual newsletter itself. It was called Philly Inquirer, and it was a beautiful piece. Tell me about how that came together.
Okay. It's the Occupy Philadelphia Inquirer.
Oh, yeah, Occupy Philly Inquirer. Okay.
But, it was just, I'd heard about there was an Occupy Wall Street journal, and I thought, oh, that's cute. So in Philly, we've got the Philly Inquirer, so this is the Occupy Philly Inquirer. But, it was just, a way to sort of get some messages out. And, for a while we included it with those DVDs that you sent, which were a huge hit. Thank you very much to the Phoenix crew for preparing those. Those were great. We included Future Freedom Foundation newsletters. I mean, we were pounding these people with freedom propaganda.
Freedom, 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 and all of a sudden they start to find out that, they agree with a lot of us. And they go, damn, and then they need to get rid of this Occupy thing because the Ron Paul libertarians were infecting the planet. We got to stop it somehow. We'll be right back. We know you're out there. We can feel you now. We know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. We don't know the future. We aren't here to tell you how this is going to end. We're here to tell you how it's going to begin. We're going back to editing the next edition of Freedom's Phoenix digital magazine now, where we are telling the people what you don't want them to know. We're showing them a world without you, a world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries, a world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice we leave to you. Subscribe at freedomsphoenixeasy.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenixeasy.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. Seems on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission,
Right.
the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
On Free Talk Live, we talk about investing gold and silver as a hedge against inflation, investment, and barter currency. We've teamed up with Midas Resources to offer you some great rates on some hand-picked gold and silver pieces. U.S. Eagles, British Sovereigns, 20 francs, Lakota Nation silver rounds, Montana silver reserves, and Walking Liberty halves. Call 877-857-9938 or go to gold.freetalklive.com. The shipping is the same for 1 as it is for 20, so try to get as many as you can all at once. Gold.freetalklive.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Badadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 760-569-7753. That's 760-569-7753.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
It's a curious thing. Make a one man weep, make another man sing. Change your heart to a little white dove. More than a feeling, that's the power of love.
Yeah, that's the power of love. Even turns a hardcore communist into a libertarian. This is what James Babb was able to do with, those of you on the video feed, you just go and you see this, and we went ahead and reproduced it in the e-zine. It's the Occupy Philadelphia Inquirer, and you had a lot of people that were writing really good articles in there. And of all the content that you had, how many issues did you do, and how many opportunities did they have from the left to participate in the writing?
Well, we did, I guess, about 4 issues, and there was I'd say maybe 30% of the content in the later issues, or maybe half, was from people I had met there, and I met some really interesting people that were really good on the war issue, were really good on the war on drugs issue, even if they weren't putting it all together. There were some really smart people, some really interesting activists, and I think that's kind of the neatest thing about sort of coming out of this movement is the cross-pollination, is giving libertarians a chance to network with people that aren't libertarians but share some of the common beliefs. and we're all learning from each other, learning about the tactics, learning about philosophy. So I think that's really positive. And who really facilitated that was the Truth, Freedom, Prosperity group out here, who built the Love Shack, which I know you had heard about, but they built this insulated modular structure. It was like 16 feet by 8 feet, insulated. They called it the warming hut, but our nickname was the Love Shack. But basically, people were invited. It was staffed 24 hours a day, and they were serving hot tea, providing information, conversation, just giving people a chance to, hey, look, come out of the cold, sit here, relax, talk about things that are on your mind. And it was just a wonderful opportunity. And that crew from Truth, Freedom, Prosperity, I mean, they put their heart, soul, treasure into this thing, and it really, really paid off. It was one of the most successful outreach operations I think I've ever seen.
Well, what kind of support did you have from the opposition government? They go, oh yeah, just put up your Love Shack, it's all good.
Well, we don't, we didn't ask permission, but the city of Philadelphia was very concerned about this. They're like, oh, what is this? Because it did rise like the Black Obelisk in 2001. They sent out the fire marshal to inspect it, and it was all up to code. And Fernando is a volunteer fireman, so that didn't hurt.
Yeah, no, I'm just playing some Love Shack, man. Yeah, we're going to get the Love Shack. I wanted to, of course they go after it, and they wanted to make sure that, they got to give their, stamp of approval and, like you're allowed. But, and they go through all this stuff. But it was amazing how you guys constructed it. How was it made?
It was a modular design with these panels that were connected together so it could be taken down and reassembled. But it was insulated, weather sealed. It had lighting. It had solar power.
Well, because it was cold. I mean, what was the months that you were doing this?
Yeah, this went right up until everybody got kicked out in December. So it was,
you guys were the center of the attention. They're going, oh, let's go over to the Love Shack so we can survive, okay? So, I can see that this is, is a great undertaking, and, but I'm really interested in how many minds you changed, and there's more than just meets the eye. One, you have the media. Two, you have, the activism, the libertarians and people having fun, the Levolution and so on. And then you have the people there, and then you have government and law enforcement. So you got like 4 groups there. Let's go through those. What kind of impact do you think you had on the government? I mean, they were like, damn it, these guys are too organized. We need to, are they happy you were there, or they were looking for their first opportunity to get rid of you? What?
Well, they were basically looking for their paycheck. There was this enormous police presence at Occupy Philadelphia, and most of them were just all standing around on the other side of City Hall, really not bothering anybody most of the time, but just tons of police cars and uniforms just standing around smoking cigarettes, and which was fine. But they generated the biggest complaint against this movement was, oh, you're costing the city, $100,000 a day in police overtime.
No, we found out that it was through the fusion centers. They were getting it from Department of Homeland Security. Big shock. Okay. The other thing is that the impact. Were the officers friendly, or they just didn't care? They just give me my paycheck.
They basically just stayed away. They stayed away. They're like, okay, fine. And even when they were needed, they would say, well, hey, you handle it, which was, I didn't expect, much from them. They didn't really play their role until the command came down to boot everybody out. And then, of course, they do what they do best with, by brute force. And eventually they did use the horses and, their brutal tactics to run everybody out of there. So,
And then what about the people that were there thinking they were going to get a dose of their comrades in the arms, and we're going to change the government and get more goodies from the rich people kind of thing? I mean, because that was a big criticism that we, you and I and some other libertarians that embraced the occupation as just another marketing outreach tool, just like the Tea Party. We knew what was going to happen either way. We're just going, look, man, there's just some people here wanting to know what the heck is up, and I go, you know what? It's on a DVD. So we embrace this as an opportunity to spread the message, but some people, they thought we shouldn't, and I'm wondering what kind of criticism you got there.
Well, sure, some people would kind of say that, but once you really have to be there, and once you start talking to people and you realize how effective it is, I mean, this was basically a retail operation, where something like We Won't Fly is wholesale outreach. This was one-on-one, just talking about issues with people, and these people many were genuinely interested in the solutions. And I talked to people that I would never have imagined would be supportive of our ideas. Inner city young kids, talking about end the Fed. I'm like, okay. and they didn't get it from us, but they saw that we also wanted to end the Fed and came to talk to us. Or the hard heads, the older socialist crowd that were sort of offended at these ideas, but they're not the ones I was worried about. I wanted to talk to the young people, and there's tons of young people involved.
Infecting Generation Next minds. Well, I can think of nobody better than James Babb. Now, as you did this, did you make some converts? Tell me about Ron Paul. How was he perceived by these people on the left, or did that even come up?
Well, it did come up. The early version of this outpost had some prominent Ron Paul signs, and it got sort of declared the Ron Paul tent early on, which was, unfortunately, there's a perception in the inner city that, Ron Paul's a racist. You must be a racist too. So there was a lot of clearing up of these misconceptions for the Ron Paul crew there. They really had to, say like, no, in fact, these are the facts, but there was a lot of initial hostility from certain factions, whether, intentional or just misinformed. I don't know, but over time, one thing that Fernando did was he donated like 6,000 pounds of organic fair trade food to the food distribution operation. So you come bearing gifts. I think you're going to be at least going to be listened to. So.
Wow, so, that 6,000 pounds, is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean tons and tons and tons of food, and it was just basically open arms. Look, let's work together, let's talk, let's find out what we agree on, and see what we can do to help each other in those areas.
Wow, it's always inspirational and great to talk to you, James. I'm glad you made time for me. Say hello to your lovely family for me. And I want to stay in touch on a more regular basis. And another article for the e-zine, please. We have this month is going to be on war. All the aspects of war. Our perspective of war, and I really want to embrace that. Because I think there's a lot to be learned from us as we go into it again.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your life?
Done.
Thanks, Ernie.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It went well. Learned a lot. It's all fun games. Thank you. How's things going with you there? What are you doing now?
Looking at this cold, damp, miserable existence of Pennsylvania in January, wishing I was in Arizona.
The one thing when I travel and I go and there's overcast or there's clouds, and I'm like, cool, clouds. And everybody's like, they are so envious of the sunshine. And I go, you know what? Well, you can have some of it, because damn. It's 300 and whatever days of freaking blazing, even in the winter. Like now, I got to go. I think I had to put on long pants maybe 3 times this year. So it's pretty nice here. You should come visit.
Oh, I will. We love Arizona. We love out west. So It's definitely in the cards. It's just now we can't fly out there, so it's a little bit more difficult. Hey, did I tell you I took the train up to see your buddy Jesse Ventura?
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, it was for his conspiracy theory show. So I'll be on that, and I don't know when it comes out, but I thought they wanted to fly me out, and I'm like, I'm the we won't fly guy. I don't think I should be flying out.
Where did they do it at?
It was like at a hotel in Minneapolis.
Well, it's not a billion miles away, but it's not close.
Well, it's a day and a half each way by train. Oh,
damn!
It's miserable.
Did they pay your way?
Well, they covered the expenses, but it's not like I made money doing it. It was definitely an experience, but it was an investment, and
they give you a sleeper berth.
Yeah.
I did that in that going to Jekyll Island thing. I thought that was kind of cool. I tell you what was cool is the ergonomics of the actual car, how they move it, how they compact everything in the one little closet. I was going, this is cool, man. This is like a spaceship. The one thing when you guys do that, when that airs, do you know when it's going to air?
No, I don't know. I'm assuming I'll find out about it, but I don't know how long it takes. But
well, when did you do it? How long ago?
This was back in, I forget. I guess this was in December, so it wasn't that long ago.
Well, when they do it, if you find out, we need to pump it, man. Even before it comes on, we'll do a big show, woo-hoo, watch James on Conspiracy Theory.
Well, I just got to, first of all, see how hokey it looks, because they
Doesn't matter. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Everybody knows, who you and we are and everything anyway. It so doesn't matter, okay?
Well, depending on how they edit it, it could be fantastic or it could be like a total embarrassment.
Oh, shut up. You know that everybody and their grandma is going to watch it anyway. Well, you care. Don't even start with me, man. I'm just like, was there an issue out there somewhere? Did they kind of get what it was about? Did they get my position? Nobody remembers the details other than, just what happened. That's all the activism that I ever did. The only reason it got on TV is they had to have at least 3 adjectives. Tie-dye wearing, gun-toting, dope-smoking libertarian said, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just talk about the issue. I didn't care. Don't start this with me, man. We need to promote it. Come on.
All right.
All right. Hey, thanks for coming on, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.